Now turn to WDRB's Eric Crawford. He joins us live. And Eric, thank you for being with us tonight.
Eric, you have covered 30, or this will be your 30th Derby, so there's no better person kind of to weigh in on the chaos of today and this week leading up to the Derby. Why don't we start there? Have you ever seen anything like this in your decades covering the sport?
Oh, we've seen defections. I can't recall having a Derby horse die during training for Derby. I think that's a little bit new. We've had plenty of horses get hurt on the trail to the Derby or get scratched from the Derby beforehand. We've had favorites get scratched a couple years ago. We lost Omaha Beach like the day before the race, but this has been a pretty hectic run up. There's just been a lot of churn over multiple horse fatalities at the track, and just a lot of changes to the track in general, adding to all of that.
And we've been talking, Derby week is always quite fluid, but this week does seem extra turbulent. And we just heard from Conroy Deluge. He spoke with Saffie Joseph Jr. He says Churchill Downs is making him a scapegoat. What do you think of what he says about that?
Well, I understand where he's coming from. There's not been any hearing. He's not been found guilty of anything. Nobody's made any specific allegations. They just know that he's had two horses die in a way that they're not sure what happened. But from the Churchill Downs standpoint, I certainly get why they're doing what they're doing. The Kentucky Derby is too big a race to risk something happening in that race if you can avoid it. I completely understand why the Kentucky State Racing Commission and its stewards and Churchill Downs did what they did today. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that there's no incident that touches the Kentucky Derby or the Kentucky Oaks.
None of this trainer's horses can run this weekend. He is suspended. Perhaps does this act by Churchill mean that there is more known on these deaths than what's been made public, Eric? Or is this a cautionary move?
It could be that more is known, but I'm not going to go to that conclusion. I think this is a purely precautionary move at this point. The fact that they don't know, that they cannot ascribe a cause to why these horses would have just collapsed after racing, that they're going to take this action, that something's wrong that they can't identify and they can't fix, and they're not going to deal with it in the Kentucky Derby. So I'm not willing to say that they found something. The trainer says they didn't find anything suspicious. The fact is, with all of these things, we're talking about drugs that can be masked, and they don't always find anything in terms of that. There's always suspicion. But in this case, I think it's pure precaution on the part of the track and the state.
Do you think tracks will be more cautious moving forward after the week that we've seen here at Churchill Downs?
Maybe. Honestly, horse racing is a dangerous sport for these horses. Nationally, we lose 20 some a week is what they will tell you in some statistics over all types of racing. So no, I don't know at this particular week, but I think it being connected to the Kentucky Derby gets everybody's attention. It certainly has Churchill Downs' attention. It's going to get some national attention because of the profile of the race. So maybe that will lead to more caution. We'll have to see.
All right, thanks for being up late with us tonight, Eric. I know you're back at it early tomorrow morning. We'll see you on Oaks Day.